Hello, today so far has been mostly a video editing and knitting sort of day. I'm planning on doing some kitchen stuff this afternoon, well this afternoon now, and I need to make some sort of biscuit or cookie, some sort of cake, and I'm making a homemade pizza for tea again. I have still lots of fresh tomatoes to use, and I'm not sure what else. Depending on time really, if I have time maybe I can make a second cake to put in the freezer, but I'm just going to see how I go. I like to kind of prep everything ready to go in the oven at the same time, although the pizza will go in after everything else comes out. So I like to get all the, basically I do everything in the complete wrong order to what things should be done. So say for example making cake batter, it'd be like cream your butter, your sugar, add your eggs, add your flour, add your raising agent and everything else and such like. So I like to do like my butter and my sugar and my eggs, anything else that's going in, for example chopped apple or fruit, mix all that up, and then I'll put my flour on the top and then my raising agent on the top of that, and then I can cover that and not stir it in, and everything else is, all the wet ingredients are stirred together, and then the flour and the raising agent, and then cover that, and then I can leave that until I want to bake the item. That way my raising agent isn't going to activate and then lose all the air by the time to come to bake it. So I can get all my baking things together and then put the oven on to heat up, and then cakes and biscuits and everything can all go in the oven at once. They can all be stirred up, put in their trays or tins and put in at once, and make the most use of the oven and also use less electricity as well. So I'm going to be getting all my mixtures ready for later, and probably prepping the toppings for the pizza for later too. Although that's really only going to be tomatoes, garlic, mushrooms, whatever else I can find lying around in the fridge. I'm going to start out making some gingerbread cake. I have 2 recipes for ginger cake, and I want to make them both this autumn at some point so that I can compare them. There was another one that we made called Dorset gingerbread that we made for my sister's wedding, and it was really good, and it was very similar to this recipe. It's just the size of cake was slightly different. This one is from a recipe book I picked up in the charity shop several years ago, and it's got a few really good recipes in it, but this is one that I've done a couple of times. So I'm going to make this one this time, and then in a couple of weeks time I'll probably make the other gingerbread, and I'll be able to decide which one we like of the two. Okay, I'm going to combine 2 recipes to make some biscuits. When I say biscuits, I mean cookies, not American biscuits, which are scones. Anyway, so I'm going to be making this recipe for almond biscuits, which is in the B-roll book. It's a really nice almond biscuit recipe. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add a speculoos biscuit spice mix that I got from this recipe. I made these not long ago, but we weren't keen on the texture of them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the spice blend for this. I'm going to use around 3.5 teaspoons of this spice blend and use it in the almond biscuit recipe. And it tells you the spice blend here and the ratios: 8:2:2:1:1:1 of cinnamon, nutmeg, cloves, white pepper, ginger and cardamom. So I'm going to use 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, half a teaspoon nutmeg, although that sounds quite a lot, I might change that. No, the nutmeg is fine. The cloves I might reduce down. White pepper, ginger, might up the ginger slightly, and cardamom. But anyway, I'm going to use those spices in the almond biscuits. And again, I'll just prep the dough ready for later. Okay, so the biscuit dough is done and the gingerbread cake is done. I've just had a 20-minute sit down and cast off the second sock of my stripy Halloween socks. And so now I'm going to do a bit more food prep. I think I'm going to do an apple cake, a Roman apple cake, because it's more of a, although it's a cake, it can also be used more like a breakfast cake as well, depending on how much sugar I put in it. But it also means that there's a variety of stuff. Also, I could always freeze half of the ginger cake. We'll see how big a cake it makes. I'm not sure, I can't remember. And I think that's it. And then just the pizza ingredients to do. Yeah, that's the plan. I've decided to do a different apple cake to usual this time. This one's called Windfall Cake. It was sent to me as part of a postcard recipe swap many years ago, probably around 15 years ago. And this one has got less sugar in the cake, and it's got sultanas in this one. So I think I'm going to do this, and then there's a bit of dried fruit and a bit of texture cake, whereas the ginger cake that I've made is all just cake. This one at least has some texture in it. So I'm going to do this one, and again just prep the batter ready for baking everything together later on. I've just come to have 10 minutes. I've just put the ginger cake in the oven, and I've just given that 10 minutes before I think about putting the apple cake in. They're done on different temperatures, so I put it on the lowest temperature for now, and then I will turn it up a little bit, and I'll just have to juggle the times and the temperatures a wee bit. It's something you can kind of do a bit when you've got quite a bit of baking experience. Can usually get it to work out, and then I'll be sorting out cookies to go in after that. So I finished. I did mention earlier that I'd cast off, wow, the light's funny in here, it's really blowing out. I had cast off my stripy Halloween socks earlier. I did 1.5 cuffs last night while watching telly, and I finished off the second cuff this morning, and I cast off earlier. And I think I'm going to cast on another sock. I'm going to cast on with this yarn. Well, I'm actually going to cast on with the contrast toes, which, why is it, it's really very bright in here. It is not bright in the room, but it's picking up the light from the window opposite me. Bright orange toes and heels with this yarn. At least I'll be able to see what I'm doing with this on an evening, because it is so bright, and compared to the purple contrast that I've been working with recently. So I've got that to do, but first, I'm not sure if the cat moved the camera tripod there. First, I have all these ends to weave in on these socks. There's quite a bit because of adding in the extra purple stripe. She's rubbing on the tripod, it's making it vibrate ever so slightly. So I have that to do. Either now or this evening. Maybe I'll do that now and cast on this in a little while, because I think I will need a little bit of light for weaving in the darker ends on this. Okay, I'll do this, or part of this, keeping an eye on the clock, and then I can get the cake in the oven.